Hi everyone, I'm back with some all new cards for my 2017 holiday cards series. I am starting off with some 6x6 paper pads that I have in my stash here, and I'm going to flip through all of these stacks and pull out a bunch of music note or music themed sheets. Now these do come from different collections and I don't know them off the top of my head, so I'll leave that down in the description bar and over at my blog as far as which collections they come from. And as you can see, the sheets are all similar in actual print design, but the coloring is different. So that's what I'm going to work on in this video. To start, I'm just trimming down my paper here and centering off my images. I wanted to make sure that the music sheet was kind of in the middle of the card. If I had trimmed off in just, one side, it would just all be off centered. So I just wanted to center the images off. And I'm just going to work my way through that whole stack of papers there and just trim them down. These sheets ended up being 4 inches by 5 1/4, so they'll fit on a standard card. Now I am taking some vintage distress ink, which any brown distress ink or tint of beige or brown would work. I'm using vintage photo because that seemed to match my papers the best. And then I'm going to use very light circular motions and this spongy tool, the distress tool, to ink the edges of my paper. I made sure not to get into the middle of the page because I wanted to leave a bit of a highlight there, but I did ink the edges pretty well, but also with a very light hand. Now on my left hand you'll see a bit of tape that I have attached to my fingers. That's just there to prevent any ink transfers. Sometimes when you don't have anything there and you just touch these inks, kind of like where my fingers are now, if I didn't have the tape, I tend to pick up the ink on my fingers and then it kind of transfers to the rest of the page. So that's just my easy cheat method of not getting ink transfer from fingertips to be on the page. Otherwise, sometimes you actually see fingerprints and that kind of just destroys the project. So I'm just finishing off here and inking all the way around. It's a pretty simple technique, but it makes all the difference when you're trying to make coordinating cards. So I just kind of wiped the residual ink in the middle, and now you can see that the image matches a bit better to what was in my other paper pattern. So I'm going to just continue to ink some of these pages so that they all coordinate a bit better. This is another one that's very white, and I just kind of want to make it a little bit more toned down. And here's my finished inking technique. You can see that some of the images are as they were from the paper pad, and others are ones that are inked, and they just look a little bit more coordinated than they would otherwise. To finish off the cards, I'm just twisting some baker's twine around the page, and then I'm using some of my American Crafts embellishments here, and you can see why I chose music sheets now, because my image, my sentiment goes very well with it. And I just stamped a very simple sentiment on the inside, and that finishes off my cards for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.